Skinwalker Ranch Poltergeist, the monitored phenomena, objects moved in locked rooms under surveillance. No visible force, multiple witnesses, the data defied explanation. Across the high desert of northeastern Utah, where sandstone formations cast long shadows over sage-dotted valleys, stands a property that has become synonymous with the unexplained. The Sherman Ranch, later known as Skinwalker Ranch, becomes the site of documented poltergeist activity beginning in 1994, activity that distinguishes itself from classical cases through one critical difference: scientific monitoring. When Terry and Gwen Sherman moved their family to the ranch in 1994, they anticipate the challenges of ranching in Utah's Uinta Basin. They do not anticipate what begins almost immediately after their arrival. Objects in their home move without apparent physical cause. Items appear in locations where no family member has placed them. Heavy objects are found in positions that would require multiple people or mechanical assistance to achieve, yet no one has been near them. The phenomenon follows patterns documented in poltergeist cases throughout history, but it unfolds in an environment that will soon become one of the most comprehensively monitored properties in paranormal research. The Shermans are not experiencing these events in isolation. They are experiencing them in a location that will attract scientific scrutiny of unprecedented scope. The family's first encounters with the poltergeist activity are disorienting in their unpredictability. An object sits in one location. Family members leave the room. When they return, the object has moved. No sound accompanies the displacement. No vibration precedes it. The object simply exists in a new position, as though it has always been there. Unlike poltergeist cases where activity centers on a single individual, often an adolescent experiencing psychological stress, the activity at the Sherman Ranch affects multiple family members independently. Terry witnesses events. Gwen witnesses different events. Their children report their own experiences. The witnesses do not coordinate their observations. They simply report what they see. One evening, a ball of light appears hovering over one of the children. The phenomenon does not move erratically or emit sound. It simply hovers, defying conventional explanation before disappearing. The child is unharmed, but the psychological impact of the event reverberates through the family. Their home, the one environment where families expect safety and control, has become a place where unexplained phenomena intrude without warning. Then comes the voice. Inside the house, with no visible source, a voice speaks from thin air. The family hears it clearly. The words are distinct, but there is no person present to have spoken them. This event proves particularly distressing for the Shermans. Visual phenomena can sometimes be dismissed as tricks of light or perception. Moved objects might be explained through forgotten actions or family members not communicating clearly. But a voice speaking from nowhere challenges the family's sense of reality in ways that outdoor phenomena do not. The poltergeist events follow a recognizable pattern. They are intermittent rather than continuous. Days or weeks may pass without incident, then multiple events occur in rapid succession. The activity involves physical displacement of objects rather than destruction or damage. Items move. They do not shatter or burn or disappear entirely. And critically, the activity escalates during periods of heightened stress or when the family discusses the phenomena with others. This escalation pattern is consistent with documented poltergeist cases worldwide. The phenomenon appears to respond to human attention and emotional states, though whether this represents conscious intention or some form of unconscious psychokinetic effect remains a matter of ongoing debate among researchers. When the National Institute for Discovery Science team arrives to begin their comprehensive monitoring of the ranch, they apply the same documentation standards to poltergeist events as they do to all other phenomena. Each incident generates an incident report. Photographs document the displaced objects. Sensor data from the time of each event is cross-referenced with the testimonial evidence. The NIDS team brings something unprecedented to poltergeist research: continuous surveillance. Cameras monitor multiple locations throughout the property. Electromagnetic sensors track fluctuations in the local field environment. Temperature monitors record variations. Motion detectors cover key areas. When poltergeist events occur, they occur in an environment designed to capture any associated physical changes. Several documented incidents occur in areas under continuous camera surveillance. The footage reveals something extraordinary and frustrating in equal measure. Objects move. The cameras record the movement, but no visible agent appears on the footage. The objects simply change position between frames, as though the mechanism of displacement operates outside the visible spectrum or occurs too rapidly for the equipment to capture. The team documents one particularly significant incident in a locked room. The room is secured. Cameras monitor it continuously. Electromagnetic sensors track the environment inside. When team members return to the room, objects have been moved. The locks remain engaged. The camera footage shows no entry by any person, but the objects are indisputably in different positions than when the room was secured. This documentation represents a critical advancement in poltergeist research. Classical cases rely entirely on witness testimony, accounts that skeptics can dismiss as misperception, fabrication, or the result of unnoticed physical causes. But at Skinwalker Ranch, poltergeist events occur in a monitored environment where instrumental data can be correlated with the testimonial evidence. The NIDS team discovers significant correlations. Several poltergeist events coincide with electromagnetic anomalies detected by their instrumentation. The anomalies are not ambient fluctuations or equipment malfunctions. They are distinct events that occur precisely when objects are displaced. The correlation provides potential physical parameters for phenomena that have traditionally existed entirely in the realm of subjective experience. The team documents anomalies in the electromagnetic spectrum that have no conventional source. The fluctuations do not correspond to any known natural phenomenon or human activity. They simply occur, and when they occur, poltergeist events often follow or accompany them. For the Sherman family, the poltergeist activity proves more psychologically disturbing than the outdoor phenomena they witness. Seeing unusual lights in the sky or encountering strange animals on the property is unsettling, but those events occur outside, in spaces already associated with the wild and unpredictable. The poltergeist events invade the home itself, transforming the interior space into a zone of uncertainty. The sense of being watched and interfered with in their own home erodes the family's sense of security. They cannot lock a door and feel safe. They cannot assume that objects will remain where they place them. They cannot trust that the space around them is empty of presence simply because they see nothing there. The phenomenon does not cause physical harm to the family members. No one is struck by flying objects. No one is pushed or touched by invisible forces, but the psychological impact accumulates over months and years. The constant low-level stress of living in an environment where the normal rules of physical reality appear suspended takes its toll. The poltergeist events continue throughout the Sherman family's tenure at the ranch. When they eventually sell the property and depart, the phenomena do not cease. The NIDS team continues to document poltergeist activity during their monitoring period, confirming that the events are not somehow generated by the Sherman family's presence or psychological state. More disturbingly, team members begin reporting poltergeist-type events in their own homes. Objects move without explanation. Strange sounds occur. The phenomenon appears to follow investigators away from the ranch, the so-called hitchhiker effect that becomes one of the most unsettling aspects of Skinwalker Ranch research. This geographic spread suggests that whatever causes the poltergeist events is not purely tied to the physical location. It appears capable of attachment to individuals, following them beyond the ranch boundaries. The implication challenges the traditional understanding of poltergeist phenomena as either geographically bound hauntings or effects generated by specific individuals under psychological stress. The documentation compiled by the NIDS team represents one of the most comprehensive scientific examinations of poltergeist activity ever conducted. The team approaches the phenomenon not with assumption or belief, but with instruments and protocols designed to capture any measurable physical correlates. The correlations they discover between electromagnetic anomalies and poltergeist events provide researchers with potential avenues for future investigation. If poltergeist phenomena consistently produce measurable electromagnetic effects, those effects can be studied, quantified, and potentially predicted. What has been a purely subjective category of paranormal experience may have objective physical parameters. The Skinwalker Ranch poltergeist documentation remains significant precisely because it occurred in a comprehensively monitored environment. The events were not experienced in isolation by frightened witnesses with no means of verification. They were documented by multiple observers using instrumental methods designed to eliminate conventional explanations. The objects moved, the cameras recorded it, the electromagnetic sensors detected anomalies, the incident reports accumulated, and after years of documentation, the fundamental question remains unanswered. What mechanism allows physical objects to move without visible cause? The ranch continues to generate documented anomalies. Subsequent owners and research teams add to the accumulated data. But the poltergeist phenomena documented by the Sherman family and the NIDS team remain among the most compelling evidence that something profoundly unexplained operates within the boundaries of that remote Utah property, and perhaps beyond those boundaries, in the homes and lives of those who investigate it. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.